top down, smoking on a fat cigar. Cool breeze in my head, bittersweet smoke flying through the air. It's the way I feel, smoking on a fat cigar. Look at sweet.
Hey everybody, welcome to Not Just Blowing Smoke. You've been listening to Jeff Pitchell's Fat Cigar, and that means it's time for us to get going. We're coming at you live from Twin Smoke Shop Studio Quarters in Hooksett, New Hampshire. You can catch this show next Monday on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, basically wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you subscribe to us on those places so you don't ever miss a thing. I'm Pastor Padrón. I'm here with my fellow co-hosts, Paul, Nick, and Dave, who is behind the producer's chair. And today, from the sunny state of Rhode Island, right? No?
Where?
Where are you from today? Down?
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yes, I'm in Norwalk, Connecticut.
In Norwalk, Connecticut, we have Arturo Diaz from La Aurora Cigars.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, guys.
that is so hot. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It's been a busy day, busy month. With all the things going on, we're still smoking lots of cigars and having some fun times. So I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. Thanks. We are smoking the La Aurora Barrel Aged by Karl Malone, a very long name, and it is the Sumo Toro. What is it? Is Sumo Toro? Is that just something that goes with this particular line, or is that an actual lingo for a vitola? A sumo?
I kind of thought that was my my cigar name, Sumo Toro, because it goes with Arturo. Oh, pretty much. But no, I don't have any definitive answer as to other than the fact that it sounds really cool. We'll just go with that.
Yes,
I mean, it's a 5 3/4 by 54, so definitely a fun size. I really enjoy it, and it's actually one of the more popular sellers as we have as well too.
Sure. You want to tell us a little bit about the cigar there? What, wrapper, binder, filler, that whole business?
So it's an Ecuadorian wrapper, Ecuadorian binder, and it's Nicaraguan and Peruvian fillers on this one, which is what I know. Every time you say Peruvian, people are like, "What? What's that?" But it definitely adds a lot of, I don't know, to me, I find a good flavor off of it. And I can't specifically tell you it's that or if it's the barrel age or whatever, but those are the breakdown of it. So,
okay. As you who are watching can probably tell, and those of you who are listening, I'm going to let you know that there is, again, for the second week in a row, no one here from the 724 Lounge. These women,
they have left us flat.
We must stink.
I don't know what we've done.
I put on cologne just so some cologne, just so I don't smell.
Well, thank you. We still appreciate that, Nick.
Yes.
We still appreciate
I appreciate it from here.
Toro probably appreciates that all the way down. But that doesn't mean we have not tapped the immense wealth of knowledge and vast stores of beverage available at the 724 Lounge. Paul,
yes.
Would you please talk a little bit about what we're pairing with the Karl Malone Sumo Toro?
I would love to.
That would be great.
So tonight with the Cigar Gentlemen, we are having Founders Brewing Marvel Roast.
Marvel Roast.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is an Imperial Golden Ale with coffee, cocoa nibs, vanilla, and milk sugar. And this is from the Founders Brewing website.
Okay.
Take in the wonder that is the marvelous, or should I say, Marvel Roast, new addition to our coffee beer lineup. We started with an Imperial Golden Ale and brewed it with coffee, vanilla, and cocoa nibs. But it doesn't stop there, folks.
It doesn't?
No, it does not.
No.
Oh, my God.
They keep going.
They keep going is right.
But wait, there's more.
Milk sugar added during the brewing process tends a smooth and sweet finish, making this a delicious treat reminiscent of your favorite iced coffee drink.
I don't think it's iced coffee at all.
No, you don't get that at all?
No. The only thing that comes to my palate
totally do.
is
what?
cream soda.
Cream soda. Yeah. I can certainly pick that out in there.
Super vanilla.
I get the coffee.
I'm picking up the cocoa nibs and vanilla.
Yeah.
Maybe on the finish.
Coffee.
And you know something? I
finish.
think you're absolutely right, Nick. I'm gonna back you up. I'm not tasting any coffee whatsoever.
I'm tasting, definitely getting the cream soda. But
Cream soda,
there's
yes.
coffee in there.
It's
I can
like
taste it.
cream soda
Yes.
that has been
That's right.
spiked.
With coffee.
No. Maybe on the finish, but this is
Let me take another sip here.
this is like cream soda all
kind of on
day.
the fence.
No, I am a coffee fanatic, just like Dan, just like Dave is. All right. I'm a little bit more of a purist. I like, and maybe a snob too, because I like the high octane Starbucks and Pete's, you know.
Nice. Yes.
And I can honestly tell you that I cannot for a moment pick up any coffee notes in this beer.
Yeah. I do not pick up any coffee in this.
That's probably because the coffee note I get is like a regular Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, you get the regular Dunkin' Donuts. You basically get an extra large
The
coffee
light.
with extra.
You get an extra large coffee with extra sugar,
I do
extra
not.
cream,
This is
and
fake news, people.
18
Fake news.
swirls
This is fake news.
of caramel
Fake
in
news.
there. So that basically, what you have is a big, huge thing of sugar.
With a splash of coffee.
So this is
Ding, 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 ding,
That was
ding.
like, that was like
your
20
coffee
years
drink,
ago,
Dave.
Dan.
3 years ago, it was like
20.
No,
More like 20.
no,
No.
Dave, be honest.
I am honest.
You want me to put you on the Maury show?
Yes.
Come on, Dave.
Yes.
Whoops.
I've got
Is
purchase.
he the father?
I got purchase history in my app. All right. I
Yeah,
can
I'll
post
show,
it.
We're
I'll
gonna
show
have
you
to
what you
post
asked
that.
me. No. Tons of swirly goodness in
Yeah.
Dave's coffee.
We'll have to post that on
No.
Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really taste a lot of coffee in there.
but
Not
on
a lot, no.
But on its own, the beer is actually not bad.
No, it's really
Not
good.
bad.
Now,
really good.
It's like a
Arturo,
cream soda beer.
let's try and rescue the conversation here. Arturo, are you pairing anything with your cigar or no?
No, I am in the office, and it's too dark to be smoking outside, or actually to maintain light for this. I didn't want to be on and then be off because of no light, and then have to wave and get the floodlight on to come back on again. I wanted to be professional.
That and it ends up not looking good at all.
No,
Yeah.
so I put on two banners behind me and just be professional about it. And we just got a new 27-inch big computer, we'll just say, and we're
Nice.
they're not sponsoring us, so no advertisement there. But it works fantastic, so we'll go with that.
So basically, what you're saying is you're not smoking.
No, I am smoking.
Oh,
I am smoking, but I can't smoke.
okay.
He's smoking in spirit.
He's smoking.
Yeah, pretty much. But as soon as we're done with this, forget it. I'm gonna be right out of here. Boom.
All right. Very good there.
Cool.
Now, there's a growing number of cigars out there that are barrel aged. You know that whether it's whiskey barrels or bourbon barrels or rum barrels, you're seeing it more and more, it seems to me. And what's interesting about this cigar is that most of these barrel aged selections that are out there focus on the fact that the wrapper has been aged in some kind of whiskey barrel or bourbon barrel or rum barrel for some amount of months. In this particular case, it's the binder and filler tobaccos that are aged in the barrel, not the wrapper. That's what the website says anyway. And I'm wondering, what significance that has to the taste and flavor profile of the cigar.
Why, Arturo? Why?
So it's funny. I was doing some research, and one of the things I noticed, or I should say, or did you know that actually all of Aurora's tobacco is barrel aged, wrapper, binder, and filler?
No.
I do now.
I was talking to the presidente of our company, and he dropped that knowledge on me, and because I was talking about the Karl Malone. He says one of the things about the Karl Malone, they're barrel aged 6 months. The Karl Malone gives it additional 6 months in the rum barrels because Aurora makes the rum, fantastic rum if you never had it, and it's to marry the characteristics of the rum barrel along with the tobacco to give it some more of that sweetness that you kind of get out of it, at least for me. But talking to him, he goes, that's the biggest difference is they give the extra age. So 6 months is pretty traditional in that department, but this one gets an extra 6 months because they feel that it complemented it well. And every time when they were working on this blend with Karl, he would always come back to this blend. Multiple times out of 30 blends, he'd always come back and hit this one and pick it out right out the gate. So that's how it kind of became his.
Now, you're touching on something else that I wanted to talk about, and that's the story about how the cigar came about. How did Karl Malone get involved in this process? Was this something he came to La Aurora with, or was it some other kind of collaboration where La Aurora was looking for some kind of celebrity, to put out a particular line of cigars? How did the Karl Malone come to be?
So the story goes that Karl Malone was at Pro Cigar a few years back, and he met up with Guillermo Leon, which is the owner of La Aurora, and they just naturally hit it off. They're both, big family men. They work hard, obviously, both successful in the fields they do, and they're cigar lovers. And then, so at Pro Cigar, they connected, and then Guillermo invited him over to the Dominican Republic, and Karl showed up. Not only did he show up, not only did he show up then, but then he kept coming back every few months. And there was a certain point when Guillermo realized just what an avid cigar smoker and lover that he was. And I guess the idea had been tossed around to create a cigar. And I put this in the best way possible, from a cigar lover who happened to be a Hall of Famer. Somebody who really loves what this is all about. And so that's kind of how the story came to be. And before you know it, they started working on the blends, and this is where we're at right now.
And this came out late in 2018, correct?
It came out, wait a minute, we're in 2020. It came out last year. No, it came out last year. Yeah, no, you're right. It was still late because it was regional, and then it came out national after that. Yeah.
Okay. And how's it doing now nationally across things?
It's definitely picking up some more steam. I always encourage people to do a little research and not to prejudge, just because there's an athlete's name to it. It's definitely quality, and Aurora wouldn't have put anything out any other way. And sometimes I go into places and I take the band off just to, start the conversation, and so we can get halfway through it, and then we can really talk about it. Right. And then, most times I'm laughing because it's the same reaction. This is a great stick. I'm really enjoying this. What is this? And then, you pull the band out and it's like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And it's like, yeah, I knew, but I didn't want you to have any preconceived notions. I mean, if you know the history with La Aurora, and what they stand for and all that is there, this is not a fluke. This is something that they took a lot of pride in making, and it's doing well, continues to do well across my territory. I cover all of New York and New England. So, and
that's a lot.
It definitely, continues to grow, which is nice. So.
Now, La Aurora is the oldest factory in the Dominican Republic, correct?
Yeah, this year is 117 years old.
You want to tell us a little bit about the history of the company? I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there who'd love to hear a little bit about that.
So I took a couple of notes down for this, but I'm just going to touch base on some of it. So Eduardo Leon Jimenez founded La Aurora. He was 18 years old, and this was like a little investment for him. But cool fact about that is the first cigars that were created were the Perfecto format, or the AA Figurado. They only created 100 units a day of these things. So I found that to be really intriguing, because you would think back then, you'd want to make Robusto or whatever other size that you can do, and then go from there. But no, they didn't. You moving along, 1926. That's when the first band with the lion was on it, which turns out to be, signify, believe it or not, it had the letter E, Leon, which is Eduardo Leon, on it, but the Leon in Spanish obviously is lion. So, and that's now our big logo as far as it's always been. So it's something that Dominican's very proud of. On the 100-year anniversary, so I'm shooting forward. That's when the Preferido was born. The actual Preferido was born, with the double figurado, with the tubes that everybody's come to know. So I thought that was another cool fact, because there's six wrappers and everybody has their favorite, whether it's emerald, ruby, sapphire, that kind of stuff, which is really all preference and good. And then they continue to roll from San Años to the 107 series. Then they branched out, and now they have rum. They're part of the Arts Center. They have over 1,100 employees in 67 different markets. And then lastly, I would say is, their standards don't drop. I mean, they keep getting better and better, and they always uphold the tradition that was created back in the day.
That's awesome. Thanks for letting us know a little bit about the history there. Now we know who you're working for. How did you come to work with La Aurora?
So I was in the business prior for a different company. Actually, let me rewind it. So I was on that seat for many, many years in my cigar shop. My background is retail management. I've done it for 20 years. So I've done everything from store manager to district manager to trainer. So I've always had a thing, but I've been in that seat and I've gone to many events, and I really enjoyed, some of the people I've met in the industry. And it just got to a point when I was tired of the corporate life, so to speak. And the owner of the shop that I was at had a connect, and when they needed somebody, and next thing you know, I finally got to work for a different company, which was cool. I did that for 10 months and then decided to really dive hard with my wife and our business, which we'll talk about later, and did that. And then you guys had Willie Moranti for 2.5 years up in the territory. Right. He was flying back and forth from Florida. And anyways, they gave him a position in North Florida, and they needed to fill this one up with their promotion, and he created territory. And so Willie was actually the first one to drop my name with the company and reach out to me as well too, which I'm very thankful for, and I never forget. And he told me, he goes, you left a great impression on a lot of different people, and I really want to be able to hand this off to somebody who I know can, run with it and do good by the accounts. So that's actually where it all came from.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now you've been doing this for what, 1.5 years or something?
Yeah, 1.5 years now.
Miami Cigars, who distributes them?
Yeah. So 1.5 years. It was New York. It was Western New. No, it was Western New York and New England, and then in September, tomorrow, will be 1 year anniversary that I got the 5 boroughs to join the party as well too.
That's a lot of work, man. Good grief. So, what is the best thing about being a rep for a company with this kind of history, with this kind of depth and breadth of their product line, the quality that they stand for? What are you enjoying most about this?
First and foremost, it's always it's so much history, when we speak of Miami Cigar Company and obviously La Aurora. But when you look down, the banner, it's amazing to talk to somebody and tell them some of this history and learn more. And I learn more every day. Even preparing for this, I went in and, again, learning about the Preferido, being the first cigars you made was something fantastic. Working for Miami Cigar as a company has just been fantastic. I mean, there's Nesta Miranda has that saying, one life, one family. They mean it. I mean, we've all known through some of the challenges we've had recently. Our first sales call we had in April, the first thing that came out was how are you and your families doing? And then we want you to know that you guys are safe. You're not going to lose anything. We're family. We're going to get through this together. I don't know about you, but that means a whole hell of a lot when you're doing this. So, and then from there, just from top down, from Nestor to Jason to Mariana to my peers. I mean, we just have a great rapport with each other. And I would say, lastly, just the accounts, the relationships you make. I mean, it's a treat for me to go out and spend the night and hang out, whether to Twins or wherever. But it's like you're seeing your friends, and you're all brothers and sisters as it leaves, and and you just share a common bond that if you're not in the industry, it's hard to understand. But when you're in it, man, you understand it so well.
Yeah, there really is a real family aspect to all of this. And one of the things we've commented on this fact on the show before too, that when different reps bump into each other, it's not like where you feel all this friction or competitiveness, and you're trying to beat it's all shaking hands and sharing cigars and swapping stories and, hey, where are you going, where you been, what's going on? And that's not something you often see in sales anywhere else.
Nope.
No, and it's funny. I learned this expression through another industry. It was called community over competition. And if you really adapt it that way, I mean, there's something for everybody. When you do things right in the right way, it's always going to be good. And you're right. Like we just did the Cigar Association in New Hampshire golf tournament on Friday, and it's connecting with your peers that you've been on the road. I haven't seen you. How's your family? It's been before the pandemic, or I just saw you last week. What am I seeing your ugly face for again? It's just a lot of fun. And and that's a whole nother relationship, because peers understand each other, and the grind that goes into wanting to be successful and represent your brand and do the best you can.
Now, talking about the grind, you've got a very significant territory, with New England and New York, and now the 5 boroughs of New York City. And you've shared how one of the values of La Aurora is that they're very family oriented, and that's one of their primary concerns. How do you balance doing all of that traveling that you have to do to cover? I mean, it may not be a huge territory mile wise, but there's a lot of stores in New England and New York and in the city. How do you balance that? How do you keep your family and work, on track?
Well, I'm very organized when it comes to this. I mean, I don't waste my trips. I take notes everywhere, but I also kind of have a cycle. Most importantly, first I get, my wife is total support of what I do, 100%. She's so happy to see that I'm doing this and I'm having a good time and enjoying the success, and that means everything. And then obviously I have 2 daughters as well too, so they understand, and I make sure that they understand, because some of the responsibilities that I do have, is time away. So I was averaging about 10 to 12 nights away a month, and over 4,000 miles a month as well too, driving. So and I mean I get an oil change every month. It's not even funny, and I don't mean the 3,000 one. I get the 5,000 one. But again, and this, if you talk to me about pre-pandemic to post has changed a lot of things drastically, because while things were happening, you have to maintain contact and show and be there for your accounts in every way possible. But and that's what I've learned more, that sometimes a simple text from some people is just what they need, or sometimes it's not always a visit. You don't need to be there every time, because they know you're out there doing your thing, and as long as you do people right, it makes it that much easier. But I will say that I'm a grinder. I love being out on the road, so there's a happy balance, and I definitely keep my radar on, listening to make sure that my wife is where she needs to be, because at the same time I'm doing other things as well too, that so and then the same thing with my girls. There's my time with my girls that will never get substituted, so we're good to go from there.
That's awesome. Now you've kind of hinted that this year's been different.
Just a little bit.
COVID and shutting down and opening up, and you know, at one point it's hard to get stuff, and now everybody wants stuff, and it's just been this weird year. And you know, what are some of the challenges that you've had to deal with over the last few months, and how have you been working to overcome those?
Well, so obviously, initially it was just getting out to see people, and you know, at the beginning, you just kind of ride the wave and kind of let things go, and then until probably it was until like more like mid-April where you know, people were doing curbside and trying to do whatever they could. So you know, if I saw anybody doing anything on social media or through any platform, and I could help out, I'd reach out. We'd send stuff out. I send out some care packages, you know, just little things. You do had to do it the old school way, but you also had to make sure that you put the empathy up front, because that was the most important part. It wasn't about anything else. Everyone needs to survive, and you know, and those are people who have feed families, and you know, and so it wasn't about anything else but that. And then as we transition now to what's going on, I don't know. I just think that, you know, people. I mean, think about it. You walk into any shop. What do you have on your face? You have a mask on. I mean, it's right there. It's apparent. We're all in this, but everybody kind of has a sense of, you know, nobody, you know, everybody's good about it. You know, we're dealing with it. We're doing the best we can. We're complying with what's out there. Thank goodness we haven't had big inventory challenges. I mean, we've had a couple here and there, but for the most part, the factories are coming back slowly, and that's the other end you don't see.
Right.
You know, there's families that didn't even come back to work because of this thing. So, right. You know, these things aren't manufactured, you know, these are handmade, you know, so, you know, some of that slowed down, but I think if you're transparent with all your accounts, you never have to worry about it, because decisions need to be made at a certain point. If something's on back order, what do you have that's in stock that we can do something with now? Because selling zero cigars really isn't an option, you know. Right. Let's bring some stock in and go from there. So that's just the way I look at things. You know, hey, let's get a bridge to get you over until we can get that, you know, back in rotation, whatever it takes, you know, because at the end, you know, we all want to sell and do well.
Sure. Now you've kind of hinted at this, you know, throughout the conversation. You and your wife have another business that you work on together, a photography business. Correct?
Yeah, my wife is a wedding photographer. She's been there over 5 years. I pushed her out and had her form her own business. She got an actual bachelor's in photography, and you know, she created a business from scratch. I mean, she does the website, social media, blogging, SEO, main shooting, customer experience. You know, she's like the hardest working woman I know. And then I just happened to transition. It was a funny joke, but it was like, you know, why are we paying somebody to be an assistant photographer? You got me. I could do this with you. I said, I want to get to charge you a box of cigars every time I do this for you. So, and literally when she finally approved my shooting, because, you know, over the time she was training me, she was reviewing, and finally when she says you're ready is when I got a job in the cigar industry. So I said, well, that racket just went out the business right there. And then we've been shooting for about almost like 3 years now. It's our third season. Mm-hmm. And, you know, obviously this year has been affected, but, you know, we continue to work. I mean, so a lot of times if you follow me on any sort of social media, sometimes, you know, you'll see, hey, today's a great day for a wedding. Today was a wedding. We shot a wedding from 1:30 to an elopement from 1:30 to 5:30. And it was very private. It was very secluded, and we're very thankful that we got to shoot that today from a great couple, because it kind of lets you, remind you, or takes you away from what's going on in this world and makes you realize there's still good things happening. So, but yeah, I'm proud of her, you know, and I love that aspect. So having a business is something I understand big time too. So
sure. Oh, that's great. Now, let me ask you a kind of a different question here. I usually do a segment at one point in the show called Pastor Padrón's Cigar Confessions, which I talk about, you know, some kind of pet peeve that I have or question that I have, where I actually confess something that I do or don't do that maybe people, may or may not expect. And, when I have a guest on, especially when it's been their first time, I tend to like to ask them this question. So what for you is one of your big cigar pet peeves? Or if you want to be positive, if you want to spin it positively, what's something that you would like to share with the cigar smokers that you come into contact with, or with the audience here, that you feel would help them increase their enjoyment of smoking cigars?
When you see somebody trying to smoke a Churchill and they have 20 minutes to smoke it. and they swear to you they do it. I mean, like, as if they're super proud about it, and not understanding the whole logic of the burning and the slowness, and it's getting people to understand that the first rule of thumb for cigar smoking is to make sure that you're smoking the appropriate cigar size and the allotted time you have available, so that you could enjoy it, because that's what it really comes down to. So I see that every so often, and it always throws me out. And then the other one that everybody laughs about is, the cutting professional, the person who takes off. The capa is gone. They don't even know what a capa is. They're just
The cap's gone and half the cigar.
The jihadist.
Yeah, that Sumo Toro is gone. so you look, you're like, wow, So that would probably be on my list.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that very thing earlier today, thinking, some people tell me, I love those LFD double Lajero diggers, smoke one in about an hour or something. I'm like, an hour? That's 8.5 inches long.
I've done it.
That takes me 3.5 hours to smoke.
I've done it.
Of course you have.
Of course you have, but you see,
but it was only
you're sucking down that cigar like it's some kind of ice cream thing,
you don't even come up for air.
I don't. It was only for competition, though. It was
only for competition.
It was only for competition.
But you see that, but people do that. They think, well, this is a great hour smoke, and I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. My jaw just drops.
Well, it's interesting. It actually it goes the opposite way too, where they'll blame the poor quality or taste of a cigar when their own habits were the one impeding how good it was going to be.
Yep.
You can't do that at all. I mean, you got a Robusto, 45 minutes to an hour easily, and you could enjoy it and get those nuances. When you draw in, are you letting it stay in you, and really feeling some of it, and before you're releasing it? I mean, I know I'm not. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a Mr. Knowledge and all this kind of stuff, but I do figure if I'm going to be doing this for a living and a hobby that I've loved for many years, you might have to pick up some more nuances, that can enhance your experience, and that's exactly what this does. I'm still working on that whole retro hair, because let me tell you, I feel like I'm the silliest person in the world trying to do that. Things are flying out except smoke.
I was going to ask what's the problem, but now I think you've already answered that. Anymore.
We'll get there. I promise. You can give me a lesson, Pastor.
We can do that the next time.
Bring tissues.
All right. Let me ask everybody here, as we're coming up on the end of the first segment here, what's our thoughts on the La Aurora Barrel Aged by Karl Malone Toro Sumo? It's a lot to say in one word. Nick, what's your thoughts? Do you have thoughts, or are they just one word, kind of impressions?
I have some thoughts.
Sumo
Toro.
You get a lot of tobacco notes.
Yeah, I do. Obviously.
Uh-huh.
Really good. The cigar on its own is a fantastic one. When I first had it, when we first brought it in.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Yeah. Why?
Let me finish. I'm gonna need one of those sticks that Kendra and Bree had, those the talking sticks, so he doesn't talk over me.
The baton.
The baton. Give me a baton.
A little unicorn on the top.
My God, right? Little one. great smoke, medium body, little spice on the retrohale, little sweetness. And I think the drink is bringing out a little bit more sweetness than if you'd be smoking this on its own. Some earth, woody notes, tad bit of leather on the finish. Really good. The pairing, I'm not 100% sold on it. By themselves, the drink and the cigar by themselves are fantastic.
Yeah.
Together, I'd probably have to give it a thumbs down. The drink is, I think, a little bit too sweet. For me, all that's coming across and all that my brain is picking up is it's a spiked cream soda. Unfortunately, and that's just how my brain is working and my palate is talking to my brain at the time. But it, like I said, the cigar on its own, fantastic. I loved it since the first time I smoked it and picked it up. I recommend it to everybody that comes through the shop. We got a lot of our customers that are hooked on it. Brad, I believe Heather's tried it, and a bunch of the guys, late night guys that come in, that's like their go-to. It's a great smoke. The drink on its own is fantastic. It's smooth, full of flavor. And Paul, you said it was a double IPA?
No, it's an Imperial Golden Ale.
Oh, okay.
But it's part of the it's a coffee. It's really a coffee stout. But it's
It's a Hefeweizen.
It's a double IPA.
Yeah, my bad. I guess I wasn't listening.
it's an Imperial Golden Ale, but it's part of their coffee stout lineup.
Okay. Not really getting any coffee at all on it, even though it's a coffee stout, but it's a really good drink, really smooth. Got some really nice flavor. It's not bold, but it's really drinkable, really nice. But for the pairing, I would definitely have to do a thumbs down on it.
Dave.
I'm getting a lot of rum notes from the cigar.
You lie.
And I feel like this cream soda beer is kind of bringing it out. I think the cigar is creamy and smooth. I think the draw is easy. The beer is the weirdest thing I've ever had. I've never thought to make a cream soda beer. I don't think that's what they're going for. But that's what we got.
Some equipment malfunctions for Dave over there, the producer.
Dropping the elbow.
Well, we'll let Dave fix his mic, and we'll go on to Paul. Paul?
So the reason why I like this cigar is that it's a nice medium smoke, lots of wood tones, nice spice, a little bit of sweetness, very, very well balanced. The pairing is, however, taking away a lot of what I like about the cigar. I got a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of spice, but it takes the woody notes that I really like from the cigar away from me. And so I do agree with Nick that this is not a pairing that I would give thumbs up to. I think the beer on its own is decent. It's not something that I would go back to. Mm-hmm. It lingers on your palate. There's almost like a malty flavor to this, instead of the hoppy flavors that we're so used to.
Yeah.
And so it tends to linger. Forward beers tend to linger on your palate longer. Mm-hmm. So it's taking away a lot of the flavors from the cigar that I like. So I would say no to the pairing. But on its own, cigar is fantastic. I really, really like that. Nice medium smoke, great, cedar wood notes, earthiness, very, very well balanced. The beer, again, on its own is decent, but I will probably never order it again. and specifically, if it's supposed to be a coffee stout, and I'm not getting any coffee flavors, unless you go to Dunkin' Donuts and order an extra large, extra, you won't get that.
You got extra
the coffee.
Swirl it, girl.
Could have had Oktoberfest.
Yeah, so I would say if you're expecting a coffee flavored cigar, coffee flavored beer, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed looking around at all of us smoking, the construction on the cigar has been great.
It's been perfect.
All the way down. Everybody's cigars have been burning very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to echo what I've heard. The cigar has lots of rich wood notes. There, I really feel like that I can taste some of the like almost like a charred, something from the oak barrel, something is carried over where I almost feel like I can see or taste the effect of the barrel on the tobacco. How to describe that? I'm not entirely sure, but it's something that's very pleasant. It's medium bodied. It's very, very enjoyable. I agree that the beer is smooth, creamy. It's like, Nick's called it a spiked cream soda. I can't really disagree with that. I can't disagree with that.
Woo!
And
Go
no,
Nick.
I don't think the pairing was all that great. But what do you expect when the women from the 724 Lounge bail on us and leave us
That's
to make
true.
our own
Again.
decisions?
Again.
Rick Kellerman says, how about a coffee enema?
There you go, Ricky. You do a coffee
Why
enema.
am I not surprised you would say that, Kellerman? You are way obsessed with enemas. You're a retired nurse. Get over it. Go do something useful with yourself. Thank you very much.
I love it, Rick.
Volunteer.
Arturo, thank you very much for being with us and putting up with this ridiculous conversation that we've had.
Oh my God, please. This is great. I had a great time. And I really appreciate you guys having me on. So for the record, another known fact, this was my first podcast ever. So
Really?
Well, we are
my
happy
God.
to bring
Hey, we broke the
podcast
cherry
in.
for you.
Yes.
Ah!
Pop that big-
It's
Ah!
now, Paul, of course, would love to have you back as long as we did the Pufferritos.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
But,
we
well,
can make it
adorable.
happen, please.
Connecticut broad.
Yes, the Connecticut broadleaf would be outstanding.
Is that fair? Oh, you want the diamond you want, right?
Yes.
The diamond. He wants
Yes.
the diamond. He's Pablo Maduro.
Yeah,
That's what he
Maduro
likes.
is forever.
We will
Yes.
definitely have to conversate about this, but I'm sure we can make that happen.
All right.
Thank
Awesome
you.
sauce.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us. This is great. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Hang in there. We will be right back with BriarWorks Sweet Tea. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We're back. It's taken us a little bit longer than we wanted, but we had some stuff we needed to work out here. And we are back with BriarWorks International's Sweet Tea. And if you are looking for a tin description, it says, brewed in the true Southern tradition, sweet and strong, just like Mama used to make it.
Just like Mama used to make it.
Mm-hmm. It is manufactured by Cornell and Deal. It is an aromatic pipe tobacco and contains Black Cavendish, Turkish Orientals, and Virginia. The flavoring on this, and it's interesting, as I went around and looked at reviews and user reviews of this tobacco, people think there's sugar, there's vanilla, there's all sorts of things added to this. I called Cornell and Deal and asked them what it was, if anything, that was cased with this blend.
Or did you call Mark?
Well, that is the same thing. That is the same thing. You call Mark and you're basically calling the guy who can call Jeremy Reeves,
Yes.
who's the master blender there, who does everything. And here's what this is cased with.
Rum?
No,
Molasses?
no.
Sweet tea.
It's cased with concentrated sweet tea.
Really?
Just sweet tea.
Just.
Nothing unusual, nothing weird, nothing, ridiculous. It's just concentrated sweet tea.
Hence the name.
Hence the name.
Is it that
Sweet
like that
tea.
that 4C powder stuff that you get at Market Basket? Because that stuff is super concentrated, which I love. You do that with some really good vodka, like Hammer and Sickle, man, you can have yourself a really good iced tea in the afternoon or late morning, like 8:30. Sorry.
I really don't know what to say to that.
I got caught up.
I really don't.
got caught up in my weekends. I'm sorry.
I'm just, one of my old professors, in college used to say, okay, we're moving on. I'm just going to hold your feet to the fire. We're moving on. We're moving on. Paul,
Yes.
what are we pairing with this sweet tea pipe tobacco?
So we are pairing this wonderful sweet tea tobacco with the High West Black Manhattan.
The Black Manhattan. Tell us a little bit about that Manhattan.
It is made with High West American Prairie Bourbon, sweet vermouth, and black walnut bitters.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's very well balanced.
Well,
very nice.
What's the first impressions here we have on the pipe tobacco and the pairing? Nick.
Awesome.
It is. So far, it's good. I had on Wednesday, when I was here in Hooksett, I had myself a bowl of the sweet tea. And the sweetness and the deep spice that you get from it, it's like having a sweet tea that has a little bit of spice on it. It's really nice. Medium body. When you said that it was an aromatic blend, I was kind of taken back because when I first had it, I was like, wow, this is nowhere near that I thought that it was an aromatic blend. Usually with an aromatic blend, for me, you get, it's light, it's, very flavorful. Obviously, this has a really good room note, and it doesn't have the body that this one has. This one definitely has some really good body. And when you pair it with this bourbon, this Black Manhattan, it's really good. The sweetness that you get from the drink, the walnut bitters where you're going to get a little bit of that earth, a little bit of that bitter in there, and then the bourbon where it kind of brings together the sweetness, the spice. This combination, this pairing, so far for me is a lot better than our last pairing. And like I said before, the cigar was really great on its own. I've had it before a bunch of times. The drink I thought was really good for the Imperial Stout. I would probably have it again, but probably with maybe something else. That would probably go good with
like a tobacco or Java.
You could it's supposed to be a coffee stout, and I didn't even get any coffee from it. I wouldn't get that. I was gonna say like an autumn evening. I think that drink would really do good with an autumn evening.
That would go well with an autumn evening. That creamy,
there
cream
you
soda
go.
kind of thing would go well with that.
You could have that at like 7:30 in the morning before you start your day.
So at 7:30 in the morning, you're going to have an what do they call it?
A Marvel roast, right?
It's APV or ABV.
Is it?
Yeah. The ABVs.
The ABVs.
It's
That's
the,
what I was trying
alcoholic
to
beverage volume.
I didn't get it.
It's 8.
Yeah.
I didn't taste
It's
that.
7:30 in the morning. It's perfectly okay to have an 8 in the morning.
Why not?
He likes to start light and then work his way up.
Start light,
Start light.
and then
Gotta work your way up to that 100 proof.
Anything from 8 to 12 ABV, and then once it gets past 10,
All the
then you
way
start
up to
going for the
Bacardi
hard
151.
No, once you get past 12, then you can break out the real good stuff. You can go single malts. You can go, the 120, 130 bourbons. You can do the tequilas and.
And then once you get past 5,
wake
it's
up with the Four Loko.
anybody's guess what you're going to be doing.
Oh,
at that
then after 5, when the in-laws and my mother comes over and everybody's over, we break out the moonshine.
Oh my gosh! When my in-laws come over, that's when we break up the moonshine.
Well, usually it's it's funny.
It's funny because usually that's a bad thing when if the in-laws are coming
it's a
over
good
and now
thing.
you're pulling out the moonshine.
Well, no, my mother-in-law initiates that. She always
She's trying to tell you something.
Let's go for the pitoro. Yeah. If you guys met my mother-in-law, man, you guys would love her, man.
I'm sure.
She's a 5-foot version of my wife, and when it's on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, she breaks out that moonshine and we drink into the morning time. She's awesome. I love her.
Very excellent.
So back to the tobacco and the drink. So far,
You're not finished talking about it yet?
no, not yet. So far, our pairing's really good. Go
Okay,
ahead, moving
very
on.
good.
Paul, what do you got?
Yes, Paul. What do you have? What do you have for us, Paul?
I absolutely agree that this is a much better pairing than the last one. The tobacco, I'm picking up a lot of light, sweet Virginia notes. The dried fruit. Some bread notes as well as some spice. Very, very well balanced. Wonderfully light spice on the retrohale. The Black Manhattan, great spicy sweetness there too. Very, 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 very smooth. It's taking away a little bit of the sweetness, but it's enhancing those bread notes for me.
Yeah.
But I would say that maybe like a mild to medium.
Mild to medium.
Mild to medium
Yeah.
with tobacco, yeah. But when I first took the first few draws of the tobacco without the drink, I got those the sweet tea notes.
Mm.
Really, really nice. I've never had a tobacco like this.
Yeah,
before.
this is
very unique.
Very unique.
It's funny. People either seem to like this or hate it.
How do you
And
hate
I
it?
think
I like
it's
it.
because, when you say sweet tea like your mama used to make, you're thinking you're going to get this sickeningly sweet iced tea kind of thing. Like you're expecting this to be super aromatic. And
Well, I wasn't expecting it to be.
we know from, talking to Mark and how Cornell and Dill works, their aromatics are really, blended in such a way as that it's not going to overtake the tobacco.
Right.
The tobacco, it's very important that it's a tobacco forward mix and that whatever flavor is being added is supporting and enhancing the flavors that are there. And so I think a lot of people smoke this and I think they're disappointed that it's not more sugary.
Oh. I
And
think
to
that's
me, especially the finish of this is like a black pico, orange pico tea.
Mm-hmm.
I get that tannin kind of finish on my tongue, and now I know because they actually put concentrated sweet tea in the mix that's where the tannin's coming from.
Yeah.
It actually is. And so it's got a sweetness to it for sure, but it's not a sickening sweet, over sweet kind of thing.
It's that Goldilocks theory.
Yeah.
There. That's just right. It's just to the point of, maybe coming back, but it's not overpowering at all. And it's really nice. Finish is really nice. Very well balanced, and it goes really well so far with the drink.
Have you ever had, just want to keep going with the sweet tea section for a moment. Have you ever had the true Southern sweet tea?
No, I have not, which is a shame.
Okay.
Because I do like a good
So
Long
there's a
Island
big
and
difference
stuff.
between the true sweet tea from the South and the sweet tea that you get up here in the North.
Oh, I know. It's
And that's
totally
where I think
different.
a lot of people are questioning the sweetness, because up here, if you get sweet tea, if you go to any restaurant that offers sweet tea or the Four C's sweet
Yep.
tea, whatever, it's sugar. I mean,
Yeah.
you're tasting the sugar. That's
Yeah.
how they're. So if you go to the South in the Carolinas or Virginia or whatever, because I traveled down there before, and you stop off at places and they offer sweet tea. It's like you say, the Goldilocks theory, just right,
just right.
enough there to just pique your interest, but it's not overpowering. You can keep getting a second and a third, and it's not going to be overpowering for you. It's fantastic.
Dave, do you have any thoughts that you want to add to this?
I'm enjoying the sweetness of the sweet tea.
Are you now?
I am.
Really?
I know you.
I have detected sugar, and I have found it, and I am focused on it with
I'm
all
focused
of my being.
It would
Absolute ferocity.
It would
Don't
go
taste
great.
any tea at all.
No.
I just taste
Sweet.
sugar.
It would
Sugar.
go great with an extra large
Mocha
extra
latte.
caramel swirl,
Swirl, swirl.
extra caramel, extra sugar, extra milk, light on the coffee.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's all, folks.
Let's see. Heather says sweet tea down south is vaguely terrifying. It's like sugar slurry with a hint of tea.
Oh, you went to the wrong places,
I think
Heather.
she went to the wrong
You went to the
place.
wrong
I'm
places.
with Paul. I used to live in Orlando, Florida for a while, and I agree with Paul that if you got legit Southern sweet tea, it was tea that had some sweetness added to it. It was not a bottle of sugar that had been
It wasn't Lipton.
watered down,
Liquefied or
with a little
whatever.
bit of tea.
Yeah, it's big difference.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, now, as we're smoking this, let's talk about some viewer questions. And I did get one this week. And this question was, what makes a cigar canoe? Does anyone want to answer that question? Paul, you want to handle that?
Usually, what causes a cigar to canoe is a construction error
Construction error.
Could be.
So and generally it's because either the roller had didn't roll it correctly, and as a result, there may be a compromised section, whether it's in the binder or the filler, or he or she short filled it, and that could very well cause the cigar to canoe, which means that those tobaccos are burning a lot quicker than the tobaccos around it, and as a result, then you've got a lopsided looking cigar.
Right, and let me clarify for those of you who are wondering maybe what canoeing is. Canoeing is when one side of your cigar is burning way ahead of the other, and the result is looks something like a canoe. You know, if you scoop out all the burned tobacco, it looks like you've got this canoe left there. And Paul is right. One of the reasons for canoeing is poor construction. When things are too tight on one side and too loose, or looser than it is on the tight side. Maybe one side was done correctly and the other side was done too loosely. The burn rate is affected, and therefore one side of the cigar is going to burn more quickly than another, and that's going to create that canoe. There are a couple of other reasons that
yes, there are.
Can cause canoeing, and what are one of those other reasons, Dave?
That would be airflow.
Airflow, meaning what?
Meaning, like, if you're in your car and you have one window down and the wind's hitting just one side of the cigar, it'll only burn that side because it's cooling the other side.
That's correct. That's correct. Wind can affect it. So if you're outside and you're in a breeze, and the breeze is, going to be fanning the fire on one side but not on the other of the cigar, you can end up with a canoe. That's a very common reason cigars canoe. And what about Nick? You seem to have a third reason.
Lighter error.
Lighter error.
Yeah.
AKA user error.
AKA user error.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you'll get somebody to light the cigar, but they'll only light half the foot. Mm-hmm. And then they'll continue to smoke it, so it's going to burn unevenly.
That's right. That's right. And that, if you're one of these people that always ends up with the canoeing cigar, you're the problem. I'm sorry, there's just no easy way to say it, but I'm saving you a lot of trouble by just bringing it out. You're the trouble. You need to, it is very important to light your cigar correctly and get the entire foot nice and evenly toasted and then lit at the same, so that the temperature is even across the foot of the cigar as you start. Because as Nick said, if one side is lit very well and the other side is not lit at all or as well, the cigar will canoe. And there you go. What do you know? Those are the three reasons that cigars canoe. You all did a great job. That's awesome.
Well, there's one more. There's moisture.
You mean if you put your cigar in a puddle
Well,
after you've lit it, then it won't?
Or if it's not humidified correctly, or if there was a leak in the bag on one side, or something like that, and wrong in your humidor, that could also comment. I would think that would be the rarest, but still possible.
That's possible.
Hey, anything's possible when you're talking cigars.
Anything's possible when you're talking to Dave.
True.
Okay.
Dave's always looking outside the 9 dots.
He's always looking outside.
He's got 10 dots.
Rod says we need to turn up the volume. I'm old and my speakers don't go to 11. If you could do that, that would be great.
Ralphie, what's up, buddy?
Heather thinks we should be doing a lighting tutorial on the next podcast. Let me tell you something, H.
Didn't we do that?
Something like that is totally in the works. One of the nice things about doing a video-based podcast is that we can do a lot of educational stuff that you just couldn't do when you were just doing something audio-wise. And we're going to be putting together some stuff on how to cut, how to light, looking at different cutters, how they work, how to pack a pipe. We're going to be putting together a lot of good stuff So you guys are not going to want to miss anything that's coming up. It's really good stuff. Let's see. News with Paul. That is the next thing on the list. Paul, do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the world today? What's going on in the world, Paul?
Well, I kind of changed the title of this news story just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a tad bit.
And, maybe I was feeling my...
This comedic side?
No. And again, I apologize to any of our California listeners out there. Don't take this the wrong way, but let me just go ahead with this. The governor of the People's Republic of California signs flavored tobacco ban bill.
Ooh.
This is from Half Wheel, and this came out after Friday when it was signed in. Flavored tobacco products are about to get a lot harder to come by in California. As on Friday, Governor Gavin Newsom signed SB 793 into law. His signature came after the Senate unanimously approved the amended version of the bill returned by the Assembly, voting 34-0 in favor of it on Friday. This bill prohibits a tobacco retailer or any of the tobacco retailer's agents or employees from selling, offering for sale, or possessing with the intent to sell or offer for sale a flavored tobacco product or a tobacco product flavored enhancer, subjecting them to a fine of $250 for each violation. Ooh. It also allows local governments to impose greater restrictions on the access to tobacco products than the bill imposes. There are exceptions to the ban, however, including one for premium cigars, though it is not terribly favorable or likely to mean that many premium cigars make the cut. In the bill, the state defines a premium cigar as any cigar that is handmade, it is not mass-produced by use of mechanization, has a wrapper that is made entirely from whole tobacco leaf, and has a wholesale price of no less than $12.
Oh my God.
No less.
A wholesale price of $12?
Additionally, it must not have a filter, tip, or non-tobacco mouthpiece and must be capped by hand.
Well, let me tell you, any cigar that has a wholesale price of $12 will not have a plastic tip.
I don't know. Maybe Davidoff's going to be coming out with some.
The ban does not apply to sales of premium cigars sold in cigar lounges where products are purchased and consumed on the premises, or to premium cigars in general. The problem, however, exists with the exemption is that few, if any, flavored cigars meet the pricing threshold, as that would mean the MSRP for an exempt cigar is around $24, and with the state's tax rate of 56.93% of the wholesale price, the likely cost is around $38. $38. Can
I have a Cuba? That would be $38.
Jesus.
Oh, WTF.
Also gaining exemption is loose leaf tobacco, a win for pipe smokers and those who like to roll their own cigarettes. But the biggest exemption goes to the hookah lounges, as the ban does not apply to the sale of flavored shisha tobacco products by a hookah tobacco retailer. California joins Massachusetts as the two states having flavored tobacco bans, though each have their own unique exemptions to the law. In Massachusetts, businesses defined as smoking bars are still able to sell flavored tobacco products and vaping products. This ban goes into effect on January 1st, 2021.
How can you ban flavored tobacco but completely exempt hookahs from that, which are like, watermelon crush, or,
sour apple,
bubblegum latte or whatever. They come out with the weirdest flavors. How can it not affect that at all? Unless the only thing I can think of is that, hookah bars are a big thing. You go and you go to the shop and you actually enjoy a hookah that you basically rent it. They give you, new mouthpieces and stuff that go on the hookahs. But still, I don't understand that at all. And, we talked several weeks ago about how this, the Senate had created an exemption for premium cigars and how that we thought was a big win. But when you define a premium cigar as having a wholesale price of $12, you basically render any kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Any kind of concession as null and void. What's the point of having that concession if everything that you're going to be selling, has a wholesale price of $4 or $5 or $6?
Right.
It's almost like either the people who wrote the bill or the person who wrote the story got their facts mixed up. Like it should be, like they meant to say MSRP of $12. Either that or, whatever cigar, the cigar companies that were thinking that this was a huge win just completely had the wool pulled over their eyes if they thought that this was going to be a big win if you have to have a $12 wholesale price on the cigar.
Well, and again, I went a little bit further than half wheel. I decided to do a little bit
deeper.
I decided to do a little bit of investigation, if you will.
Always goes deeper.
I wish Dave had the X-Files.
Yeah, sorry, I took it off.
Whatever. Conspiracy theory number. There you go. So this is from the Los Angeles Times, and I'm just going to read a few paragraphs here because I found this very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So the new law goes into effect January 1st, and it came in response to a surge in teen use of flavored tobacco, including electronic cigarettes and other products with flavor, including menthol, apple, cotton candy, and gummy bears. So Gavin Newsom said during a news conference hours before signing this measure that he had long supported a ban, and this is his quote: "I have been very expressive in terms of my absolute condemnation of this tobacco industry that continues to find ways to target our youth. It will be a point of deep pride and personal privilege as a father of 4 and as someone who has had many, many family members die at the hands of the tobacco industry to sign that bill." Now, Senator Jerry Hill, who's a Democrat from San Mateo, is the one who sponsored this bill. And he was quoted as saying, "What has kept me motivated and steadfast is the fact that this bill is all about protecting kids and protecting public health." Hill said, adding that he regretted having to accept exemptions for premium cigars, hookah products, and some pipe tobacco.
That's crazy.
And you wonder why I called it the People's Republic of California.
Yeah, exactly.
So ridiculous.
How many? They already raised the age to 21, which the age of 21 is pretty much nationwide now.
Just about.
So what kids are they protecting with this bill? Well, like how many people how many kids in California have, that are 16 years old that have fake IDs and stuff? You know what I mean? That it doesn't really. It's crazy. Yeah. Like, you're okay. I'm gonna go and support this bill that we're protecting our kids and everybody's health. I don't know. It sounds crazy to me.
Listen, bans never work. All right, and unfortunately, the certain, and I'm gonna come out and say it, the Democratic side of this continues to try to put ban after ban after ban on things that the average adult finds pleasure in. Okay,
absolutely.
All right, so we know that if this does go, which it is going to go into law, people will find another way to get it. All right, you can ban handguns, assault rifles, all this. You want to get one, you can get one pretty much anywhere.
Does not make it illegal for you to possess it.
Correct. It's not illegal for you to possess it.
It does not make it illegal for you to order it from out of state.
Correct.
It just makes it illegal for you to get it from a store in the state.
Correct. So they will find ways to get it outside the state.
Right. So then they're cutting off the businesses that are selling it in the state too. So then the business owners that are in the state are going to have to,
It's going to be tougher for them to continue their businesses. They want to raise taxes. If they want to raise taxes, it's going to continue. It's going to be harder for those retailers to continue business. If they want to ban certain tobaccos, it's going to be harder for those businesses to continue on. I mean, we talked about earlier this year about the flavored liquors. You know, Absolute has got what, 15, 20 different flavored vodkas. The rums have so many different flavors, and not one of these politicians are trying to ban those.
No, not at all.
Why? They probably drink it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Ron up in Canada asks, what percentage of premium hand-rolled cigars sell retail for under $12 a cigar?
There's a lot of them.
Outside of Canada, a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Ron, there's a lot of them. Sorry that you're paying a much higher price, but we've got plenty of cigars in our humidor that are under $10.
Yeah, you can smoke very well for $10 or less.
Correct.
I like how Rod puts on the next comment after Heather's. That's the trick. Create a boogeyman, then pass the law to deal with the boogeyman.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very, very true.
That's very true. They do that a lot.
Now, that all leads to my would you rather question.
Yay!
And this is tied into the discussion that we're having here. Would you rather be a cigar or a pipe smoker in California, where you will pay 56.93% on any tobacco you get, and there's a flavored tobacco ban? Or would you rather live in New York State, which as of October 1st, will have a 75% tax on all tobacco, but there's no flavor ban?
I'd move up with Rod. Rod, you got an extra room, buddy? Because I'm coming up.
Canada.
I will definitely. Me and Rod will be best roommates ever.
But the question is, would you rather live in California or New York?
Damn, neither. If I had the choice. That's why I live in New Hampshire.
That's why it's called a would you rather question.
Yeah. Damn.
Which hell would you rather be in? Pay a whole lot more now. Right now,
probably California.
Right now,
got the
New
beaches.
New York's taxes. It's set at 75%, but because of some ways the law is currently written, if you get your cigars from a distributor instead of directly from the manufacturer, you pay the going rate of I can't remember all the legal mumbo jumbo. It comes out to 28.5%.
In New York? Okay,
in New York. But as of October 1st, if nothing changes, and I haven't heard that anything is, it's only, and as of October 1st, those loopholes are going to be removed, and all the tax will go up to 75% for everything. So do you want to pay more tax, but be able to get your flavored pipe tobaccos, your flavored cigars, or do you want to live in California where you're paying less tobacco tax, only 56% tobacco tax, but you can't get any flavored cigars?
Okay, I'm going to start with this one.
Go ahead, Paul.
And I'm going to be forward thinking.
Ooh.
Thinking outside the box, as I like to say.
Pablo Maduro thinks forward.
Always.
Now, the average person would probably say, I'd rather go to California because it's less tax, and maybe I don't smoke the flavored tobacco. But if they're able to pass this bill, what else can they pass down the road? Now any state can try to pass any restrictions going forward. There's no guarantees.
Right.
But I would rather be in New York and pay a higher tax and have no restrictions on what I can buy than to be in California currently and have these politicians take the restrictions, put on more restrictions and take the freedoms away from me, even though I don't partake in those flavored tobaccos. What does that mean for me down the road? What are they going to try to take away from me next year, the year after?
Right.
So I would rather go to New York and pay a higher tax, and at the worst case, I can go and pick up the phone and call Twin Smoke Shop in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and get cigars sent to me.
Thank you, Lord, for Twin Smoke Shop.
Absolutely. Hey, amen to that, brother.
Dave, where would you rather live, California or New York?
Oh, I'm down with Paul, man. I go to New York, hands down.
For that reason, that same reason?
Absolutely. Because it just, living there is just, you can just order from somewhere else, and then, if you
Well, you
need
can
to,
order from somewhere else in California, too.
Correct.
I'm gonna just add one more thing too. I have a client who's been buying cigars from us who lives in California. Really nice guy. He owns a business out there. He's from Texas, but his whole family is in California. He's been living there for years, and he has told me on numerous occasions when we talk on the phone that he wishes he could just pick up his business and move back to Texas. He says California is just killing him. And he says you're not able to see the damage they're doing because it's not being reported. He goes, I'm telling you right now, it's just ridiculous out there.
Wow.
And so, I mean, any chance of me ever moving to California has been gone.
They're still.
I mean, I never want to move to California, but if there ever was, I wouldn't at this
They're
point.
still in shutdown, aren't they?
Well,
Or in one of their stages of shutdown?
they're one of the states that has gone through the quote unquote second wave and shutting things down and all that. They're not open like we are as much.
Right.
Nick, yeah, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Ooh, you guys ain't gonna like this. I'm a beach boy at heart, so it'd probably be California, and I would just order out all the time. I probably wouldn't be.
You know they have beaches in New York.
Beaches are Lake Erie.
No, I need the ocean. I need the ocean. I don't need a lake, which I've never been up to, New York and that lake region, and I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful up there, but if it had to be either or, I'd probably do California and then order out. I would order out. That'd be me.
Okay, so the beach calls you heavenward.
Yeah, until they ban smoking on the beaches, then I'm out of there. Then I'd go to Florida. I wouldn't go to either.
Again, the choice is...
All right, then I'd go to New York after.
Yeah, it's funny. Here's the would you rather question. Would you rather live in California or New York as a smoker? And I realize that both choices suck.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
It's damned if you do.
Is to, which level of hell would you rather live with? And I'm looking at all the listeners and people who are watching us on Facebook, and they're all like, well, I'm glad I'm here in New Hampshire. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
it was good, but you don't get the would you rather thing.
The grass isn't always greener.
No, it's not. Dave, you already answered. You said
New York.
New York. I would pick New York just because I can't live in California. There's so many other taxes and things that go on out there. I just couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with it. I would rather have all my different choices. And, I'm a pipe smoker too. I like having, the option of different, even things like Sun Bear, that's an aromatic, corncob pipe. Those are great aromatics. And to not have access to those because they're concerned about some 6-year-old kid going down to the store and lighting up a pipe. I mean, come on.
Why have the age restriction?
It's
you know what I mean. At that point,
it's ridiculous. I think that there are if what triggers the concern is vaping and electronic cigarettes, why does then everything get lumped into that? And especially when you have vaping and e-cigs connected to being devices that are manipulated to then introduce drugs to the system where they're not even introducing what they were intended to introduce, that you're no longer enjoying something that's now you're enjoying something that's really dangerous. I mean, come on, and it's ridiculous. And I still can't get over the fact of having a $12 wholesale minimum.
That's crazy.
Most Davidoffs don't have a $12 wholesale minimum.
No, they don't.
I mean, it's just, you're talking about like Byron and Atabey, and that's basically it. It's just ridiculous. What can you do?
Don't move to California. That's what
Or
you can
New
do.
York.
Don't move to California.
Yep. Freedom.
What's our final verdict here on this sweet tea? Is it really good, or is it just okay? Is this something that you would smoke again? Is this something that you could recommend? Or is this something that, it's a one and done kind of a thing?
I absolutely would smoke it again. As a matter of fact, this could be an all-day smoke for me. I really enjoyed that nice little sweet tea flavor I got in the beginning. The nice dried fruit, light dried fruit, nothing too much. The bready notes, just a little bit of spice, nice light spice on the retrohale. To me, it's a perfect all-day smoke, and I would absolutely recommend this.
I concur, Paul.
All right, Nick?
I also concur.
You know something? I concur too. I think this is really, really good. And you get that, again, that orange pico tea kind of aftertaste to this.
Yep.
But it's not like you don't enjoy the tobacco that's in this blend. You can taste the Cavendish, you can taste the Virginias, the Orientals provide that spice that Nick has been talking about and enjoying. This is a really enjoyable tobacco, and it's one of these things that I'm really kind of surprised that more people don't really like this. And this is certainly something that I'm going to keep in my rotation, I think. It's one of these things where I think the first time I had it, I expected something a little bit different. I expected something more on the aromatic side, something more akin to Visions of Cellophase, or as Nick calls it, Visions of Syphilis.
Visions of syphilis, baby.
And where you get this, really blatant grape aroma when you open the tin, and then when you smoke it, again, it's Cornell and Deal, so you're enjoying the tobacco, but you get this table wine kind of flavor to it. It's very, very nice. This, you open it up, you smell it. It doesn't smell really overly sweet. It doesn't smell like sweet tea. It smells like tobacco. When you smoke it, you're enjoying those Virginias, the spice from the Orientals, the sweetness from the Cavendish, and you do at the end in the finish get this nice black sweet tea kind of finish, and it's very, very unique. I think it's very good.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we have it in the store.
Plus with the drink pairing as well.
The drink, the pairing went very well with this.
I think it did very, very
I think I agree with you, Paul, that the drink kind of takes away from some of the sweetness of the tobacco, but because it is sweet in and of itself, it really complements things.
Correct.
It really brings out that, if you're looking for some...
Definitely brings out the tea note a lot more.
It brings out the tea note, and if you're looking to put a little more sweet in your sweet tea, the Black Manhattan is a great way to do it. And I'm gonna take another sip.
Take it.
Oh yeah. Now next week we have one of our contenders for the most oft on the show guests. Eric Wentworth, Vice President of Hammer and Sickle Cigars, is going to be with us in the store.
Is he going to redeem himself?
Redeem himself? Why does he have to redeem himself? Oh, smoking a pipe?
Did we forget that episode?
We completely burned him. He'll hang around and smoke the rest of the cigar.
Cry twice.
I was trying to be funny, but I ruined him for life.
Dark Birdseye killed him.
Dark Birdseye killed him.
Put a fork in him, he's done.
But we're going to be smoking the Berlin Wall Box Press Churchill.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I am really looking forward to that, and it's a fantastic cigar. And in the second half, we're going to be lighting up Robert McConnell's St. James Park
Nice.
pipe tobacco, and that is very, very nice. So you've got, the Berlin Wall, which has that kind of German, background to it, at least to the name. And then Robert McConnell, comes to us, from Germany. I don't know that it's actually made in Germany, but that's where it comes out of.
You'd have to do your research.
I'll have to do a little bit more research. But you got some German
Some
from
German.
both sides of the show there, so we're looking forward to that.
Will we have any Fräuleins
We
on the
might
show
have
next week, or are we
Fräuleins
going to be
next
all Hans?
Hopefully, it will not be all hands on deck. There will be some Fräuleins,
Are we going to have some schnitzels?
some schnitzels, hopefully maybe some Kendra or maybe some Brie.
Maybe.
Maybe little Kendra, little Brie.
I'm going to go home and watch Beer Fest now.
Yes. Make sure you follow us on Facebook.com at NJBS Podcast so that you don't miss anything, but we'll be updating you as things progress. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thanks for hanging in there as we transitioned, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week right here on Not Just Blowing Smoke.
Thanks, everyone.
Another smoke, another day.
And that's not just blowing smoke.
You've been listening to Not Just Blowing Smoke, the podcast that brings the wealth of knowledge, expertise, and fun of Twins Smoke Shop, New England's premier smoke shop, right to you, wherever you are, whenever you want it. You can find us at our website, notjustblowingsmoke.com, and keep in touch with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Not Just Blowing Smoke. Thanks for listening, everybody, and that is Not Just Blowing Smoke.
Rolling with the top down, smoking on a fat cigar.